Hello and welcome. Welcome to learning session number 9, which is going to be our last learning session for this chapter, which is chapter number 9 of Science 1, carbon compounds. Okay. So we are at the end of this chapter. So you all by now should know what all these things mean. Okay. What is an ionic bond? What is a covalent bond? How to draw a dot structure? How to draw a line structure? What is catenation? What is isomerism? What are hydrocarbons and what are the different types of hydrocarbons? How can you classify different carbon compounds based on the arrangement of carbon atoms? All these questions you all should have been able to answer by yourself by now. Okay, if you all were not able to answer any of these questions, then maybe you need to revisit a few videos, a few parts, or you need to start reading your textbooks. Next, what are functional groups? What are homologous series? What are the various characteristics of homologous series? How to write IUPAC nomenclature for a given molecule? What is a combustion reaction? What is an oxidation reaction? What is an addition reaction? What is a substitution reaction? And what are the chemical properties of ethanol and ethanoic acid? All these questions you should have been able to answer by now because we are at the end of the chapter. Okay. So today we are not going to see anything new. We've completed the chapter. We're only going to discuss a few end of chapter questions. So be ready with your textbook because you might have to find a few answers in the textbook, and also be ready to make a lot of notes because you're going to copy many of the answers for end of chapter questions. Okay. So keep your notebooks and pen ready and keep your textbook ready. Okay. So our objective for today will be students will be able to recall यानी अगर याद कर लिया तो वापस याद करना आना चाहिए. Okay, so recall means memorization. So students will be able to recall end of chapter questions and answers. Okay, so this was one of the small topics which was remaining. Okay, which is models of methane molecules. So if you see, this is one model and this is the another model. Both of these are methane molecules. They are exactly the same, but how do you represent it? उसका drawing कैसे बनाए? So उसका drawing बनाने के दो तरीके. Okay, this is the first method, which is the ball and stick model. Okay, all the balls here is a carbon ball, hydrogen ball, hydrogen ball, hydrogen ball, hydrogen ball. So all the balls will be your atoms, and the sticks, stick between hydrogen and carbon, stick between carbon and hydrogen, so on and so forth. All the sticks will be covalent bonds. Okay, so ball and stick model mein balls are the atoms and sticks are the covalent bonds. The other way of showing or representing methane molecule is space filling model. So when you actually see methane molecule, you won't be able to see atoms. You won't be able to see very perfectly shaped spherical atoms. You won't be able to see sticks in between for covalent bonds, right? We are only putting stick there so that it's easy for us to imagine the bonds, right? But actually they look something like this. Okay, the atoms are part of each other, right? When the atoms are part of each other, they will be able to share their electrons well. So the other model to represent methane molecule is space filling model. It could be asked in your objective question. Okay, they might show this photo to you all and ask you which model is this. They might show this photo to you all and they might ask which model is this. Okay, you all should be able to write this is the ball and stick model of methane. This is the space filling model of methane. Another thing which we haven't discussed yet is macromolecules and polymers. Okay, this has been omitted from your syllabus because of the pandemic, but I wanted to quickly discuss what they are. Okay, at least the meaning you all should know. So what is the meaning of macro? We know micro. What is micro? Micrometers, millimeters. All these are values which make the actual unit smaller, right? Meter and millimeter, which is the smaller unit. Millimeter is the smaller unit, right? So micro means small. So micro का opposite होता है macro. Okay, so macro means big, huge. So when I say macromolecules, what does it mean? Macromolecules means huge molecules because of the catenation, the property of carbon atom of catenation. It can create long chains of carbon atoms, right? So it can also make huge molecules, and those molecules will be called as macromolecules. बहुत बड़े molecules. Okay, example is here. So just imagine if they ask you to write the IUPAC nomenclature of this particular molecule, it will be so difficult, right? It will be such a long name. But scientists do that on a regular basis. Okay, the ones who study macromolecules and polymers. So we've understood macromolecules. Okay, macromolecules are molecules which are huge. Okay, what about polymers? So polymers are also macromolecules, but the difference is कि एक ही चीज बार बार repeat होगी polymers में. If you see CH2 is over here, here is CH2, here also CH2, here also CH2, here is a CH2. The same CH2 part of the macromolecule is repeating for a long time, and यहाँ पे खत्म नहीं हुआ. Okay, here it keeps on going on. It keeps on going on the left hand side. It keeps on going on the right hand side. So it's a huge molecule, but things are repeating again and again. So those are called as polymers. Okay, so you should know at least what is the meaning of macromolecule and what is the meaning of polymers. Okay, we're going to move ahead. Okay, so there is this question given on page number 133. I'm going to give you all, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds for you to pause the video here, and you're going to try these sums by yourself. You try drawing all possible structural formula for all these three molecular formulas given to you. Okay, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds. Okay, I hope you have read the question and you have tried drawing all possible structural formulas for all the three given molecules. Okay, now let us see the answers. So these are the answers. CH3. CH3 has only, sorry, CH3 means C3H8. Okay, C3H8 has only one structure it can have. It cannot have any other structure. Okay, and again I'm telling you all, while drawing these structures, you all, हम लोग कोई design नहीं बना रहे. Okay, there's a science behind it. What is the science? Carbon needs 4 extra electrons to complete its octet, and hydrogen needs 1 extra electron to complete its duplet, right? So हाइड्रोजन को हमेशा एक और एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रॉन चाहिए, कार्बन को हमेशा 4 एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रॉन चाहिए. तो कार्बन के आजू बाजू सिर्फ 4 बॉन्ड्स होने चाहिए और हाइड्रोजन के बाजू में सिर्फ एक बॉन्ड होना चाहिए. ओनली देन योर स्ट्रक्चर इज करेक्ट. सो C3H8 का सिर्फ एक ही स्ट्रक्चर होगा, कोई और स्ट्रक्चर नहीं होगा. इफ यू मेक एनी अदर स्ट्रक्चर, कोई ना कोई ऑक्टेट या कोई ना कोई ड्यूप्लेट कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, या फिर कोई एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रॉन मिल गया. कार्बन कैन नॉट टेक 5 एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रॉन्स, क्योंकि एक बार उसको 4 एक्स्ट्रा इलेक्ट्रॉन मिल गए तो उसके खुद के 4 प्लस 4 एक्स्ट्रा तो 8 हो जाते. उसके आगे वो और इलेक्ट्रॉन्स नहीं ले सकता. सिमिलरली C3H4 हैज ओनली वन पॉसिबल स्ट्रक्चर. यहाँ पे तुम्हें दो कार्बन एटम्स के बीच में एक ट्रिपल बॉन्ड डालना ही पड़ेगा. ओनली व्हेन यू पुट अ ट्रिपल बॉन्ड between two carbon atoms here, you will get C3H4. Okay, so C3H4 also has only one possible structure. C4H10, it has two structures. One is this alkene. Okay, so methane, ethane, propane, butane. So this is butane, right? So butane straight carbon chain structure में होगा. The other one is इस carbon atom को उठा के तुम यहाँ पे लगा सकते हो. Okay, again I'm telling you, इस कार्बन एटम को उठा के तुम इस कार्बन एटम पे लगा दो. सो यू विल गेट दिस स्ट्रक्चर. सो देयर आर टू पॉसिबल स्ट्रक्चर्स फॉर C4H10, which is butane. Okay, so just cross check your answers. If you have some other answers, just check one more time. All hydrogen atoms, are they getting 1 extra electron, and all carbon atoms, are they getting 4 extra electrons? Only when this is true, your molecule is correct. Okay, we're going to move ahead to the next question. Okay, so question number 4 on page number 133, it says explain the following terms with examples. सबको explain करना है by giving an example. So in that covalent bond we have already discussed in our previous learning session. Homopolymer and monomer are part of the topic macromolecule and polymers, which has been omitted from your syllabus. So you have to only do A, C, D, E, F, I and J. Okay, so again what I will ask you is pause the video here, open your textbooks. I don't think you must have memorized all these things by now, right? So open your textbooks and try to find answers to all these questions. Okay, 1 or 2 points you have to write the definition, explain the meaning, and another last point will be giving examples. Okay, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds for you to open the textbook, find all the answers and write them in your notebooks. Okay, and then we will discuss and try to enhance the answers you have already written. Okay. Okay, let us start discussing the answers. Okay, structural isomerism. So what is structural isomerism? It is a phenomenon in which compounds have different structural formula but same molecular formula. इसका example just in the previous question we had seen, right? For butane, वही same example यहाँ पे लिख दिया मैंने. Butane and this is called as isobutane. Okay, इस carbon atom को उठा के तुम यहाँ पे रख दोगे तो isobutane बोलेंगे. इसको N-butane बोलते हैं and इसको isobutane. Okay. So first point is your definition. Second point, you give examples of isomers and explain the example. Okay, that was your first answer. Next, heteroatom in carbon atom, carbon compound. Again, we had seen what is heteroatom, right? So definition is many carbon compounds are formed in which atoms of elements such as oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, halogens, which is carbon. What is halogens? Halogens is chlorine, iodine, bromine. These are called as halogens. Okay, so these elements substitute one or more hydrogen atoms in the hydrocarbon chain. So अगर hydrocarbons का एक molecule है उसमें से एक hydrogen निकाल के ये दूसरे elements आ जाते हैं. कौन से दूसरे elements? Oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, halogens, etc. So उन्हें हम heteroatoms बोलते हैं. Okay, so the atom of an element the atom of an element other than carbon and hydrogen, which replaces one or more hydrogen atoms in hydrocarbon chain, is called as a heteroatom. So this is your definition of heteroatom. So first point I have explained कि कभी कभी एक हाइड्रोजन को दूसरे एलिमेंट सब्स्टिट्यूट कर देते हैं. Then second point I have put definition of heteroatom, and the third point is my example. Okay, so what is this? This is methanol, right? Methane, क्योंकि एक कार्बन एटम है, and OH है यानी अल्कोहल, so OL ऐड करते हैं. So methanol, this is methanol, which is the atom of another element which is the atom of element which is not carbon, not hydrogen. सिर्फ एक ही है, ऑक्सीजन. So ऑक्सीजन यहाँ पे हेटेरोएटम है. Okay, and heteroatoms often exist in the form of certain group of atoms. हमेशा अकेला अकेला नहीं होता, मोस्टली वो किसी और के साथ होगा. सो यहाँ पे O अकेला है क्या? नहीं, O is with H, so OH. Similarly carboxylic acid, COOH, right? So हमेशा in most of the cases these heteroatoms are not alone, they're generally with a group of atoms. Okay, कौन से alone होते हैं, अकेले कौन से होते हैं? Halogens are generally alone, chloro, bromo, iodo, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's your answer to the question related to heteroatom. Okay, we're going to move ahead. Functional group. Okay, so an atom or a group of atoms which determines the specific chemical properties of a compound is called a functional group. Okay, so functional group में क्या होता है? वो हाइड्रोजन को निकाल के जो नया ग्रुप ऑफ एटम्स आ जाता है उसको हम लोग फंक्शनल ग्रुप बोलते हैं. फिर वो जो नया मॉलिक्यूल बन जाता है, it will have chemical properties which will be decided by that functional group. वो जो नया ग्रुप ऑफ एटम्स आया उससे डिसाइड होगा कि उसके नए केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज क्या होने वाले हैं. ओके, सो दैट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ फंक्शनल ग्रुप. ओके, जिसकी वजह से वो केमिकल प्रॉपर्टीज आ रहने वाले हैं. ओके, सेकंड पॉइंट, फंक्शनल ग्रुप्स मे और मे नॉट कंटेन हेटेरोएटम्स इन देम. या फंक्शनल ग्रुप जो है वो सिर्फ कार्बन और हाइड्रोजन से भी बन सकता है या फिर कोई दूसरे एलिमेंट्स के एटम्स भी आ सकते हैं. Then next you give examples. So again same example they have given ethanol. Okay, so ethanol में CH3OH में OH जो पार्ट है that is your alcohol is the functional group. And ये वाला जो example है इसमें there is a heteroatom. What is the heteroatom? O. Oxygen is the heteroatom. But if you say take this for example, okay, what is this? Methane, ethane, propane, butane, right? So parent name butane आएगा but बीच में एक डबल बॉन्ड है, so butane नहीं butene आएगा, so this is butene. So यहाँ पे डबल बॉन्ड आ गया बीच में, right? So this is the functional group. C double bond C, that becomes your functional group. इसमें कोई हेटेरोएटम है क्या? नहीं, इसमें तो सिर्फ कार्बन है. ओके, सो और हेटेरोएटम के लिए कार्बन और हाइड्रोजन ये दोनों को छोड़ के कोई दूसरा एलिमेंट होना चाहिए. So this is also an example of functional group क्योंकि डबल बॉन्ड आ गया, इन पार्ट आ जाएगा. ओके, and it does not have a heteroatom. Okay, so these are your two examples. Let's move ahead. Alkane I'm not even going to explain. Okay, alkane is saturated hydrocarbons जिसमें there are only single bonds, and you give examples. Okay, so that is alkane. Unsaturated hydrocarbons, again unsaturated hydrocarbons I'm not going to explain. What are unsaturated hydrocarbons? Saturated यानी सिर्फ single bond, unsaturated यानी double bond हो सकता है या triple bond हो सकता है, right? So those are unsaturated hydrocarbons. So again I think I've explained this in detail many times. What is saturated hydrocarbon, what is unsaturated hydrocarbons? I think you all should be able to should have been able to write this answer by yourself. Okay, so just cross check your answers that you all have written in your notebooks. Okay, reduction. So what is reduction? A chemical reaction in which substance gains hydrogen or loses oxygen. Okay, again reduction we have seen in detail in chapter number 3. The same concept comes here in this chapter as well. Okay, oxidation में क्या है? It combines with oxygen or loses hydrogen. Reduction में उल्टा हो जाएगा, it combines with hydrogen or loses oxygen. Okay, that's called a reduction reaction, and you give an example. Okay, so this example, if you remember, again we had seen in detail. All right, so this is the example of रिडक्शन रिएक्शन. Why is this example of reduction reaction? यहाँ पे कितने हाइड्रोजन है? यहाँ पे 2 हाइड्रोजन, यहाँ पे 2 हाइड्रोजन, so total 4 हाइड्रोजन on the reactant sides. प्रोडक्ट साइड में कितने हाइड्रोजन है? 3 and 3 6. So यहाँ पे 4 हाइड्रोजन के 6 हाइड्रोजन हो गए, which means hydrogen was being added to the reactant, which means hydrogen gain किया तो reduction reaction हो गई. You can write any example of reduction reaction. Okay, so that's your answer to the question related to reduction. Next, oxidant. So we have seen oxidation and reduction. जिसके वजह से oxidation हो रहा है, that is called as oxidant. जिसकी वजह से reduction reaction हो रहा है, that is called as reductant. Okay, and another name for oxidant is oxidizing agent. So जिसकी वजह से oxidation reaction होता है, that is called as oxidant or oxidizing agent. जिसकी वजह से reduction reaction हो रहा है, that is called as reductant and or reductant reducing agent. Okay, so what will be the definition? The substances which can give oxygen to other substances are called oxidant or oxidizing agent. Okay, अगर कोई substance oxygen दे देगा तो ही कोई दूसरा molecule उसको gain कर पाएगा, right? So जो दे रहा है oxygen atom, that is causing the oxidation reaction. That's why it is called as oxidant. Okay, and you give example: potassium permanganate, potassium dichromate. We have seen in detail how they are used as oxidizing agents, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Next type of question, or next question rather, is identify the type of following reactions, reaction of carbon compounds. Okay, so they've given you, I think, 7, right? Yeah, there are 7 reactions, and you have to identify which type of reaction each one of those is. Okay, for this you need to have a very good understanding. You need to have a very good understanding of the chapter, and you need to read the textbook very well. If you haven't read the textbook very well, if you haven't by hearted all the reactions very well, types of reactions very well, you won't be able to answer these questions. Okay, that's why I've allowed you all to open your textbook and find these reactions and tell me which reactions are these. Okay, first try it by yourself. If you cannot tell it by yourself, then you can open the textbook, find these reactions where they are in your textbooks, mark those reactions in your textbooks, and then try to answer. Okay, I'm going to wait for 5 seconds for you to either try it by yourself, and if you cannot answer, to find it in the textbook. Okay, I'll wait for 5 seconds for you to do that by pausing the video. Okay, I hope you paused the video and are ready with all the answers. Okay, well, let us see the answers. So the first reaction. So in the first reaction, what I can see is यहाँ पे OH है, and here I can see COOH, right? ये जो अल्कोहल था, अल्कोहल का कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड बन गया. Okay, so which is this reaction? This is oxidation reaction, because here it had only one oxygen. यहाँ पे they are having 2 oxygens, right? एक oxygen का 2 oxygen हो गया, यानी one oxygen atom was gained. Whenever you gain an oxygen atom, you call it as an oxidation reaction. Next I'm seeing as combustion reaction. Why am I saying this as combustion reaction? Because I am getting carbon dioxide and H2O, right? Typical combustion reaction. What is combustion reaction? When you burn something. So whenever you burn something, it is going to get combined with the oxygen, and you're going to get carbon dioxide and water as the product. Okay, so that's your combustion reaction. Third one, what I can see here is here it is getting attached with bromine, right? Here you have bromine, and this bromine is getting attached one over here, one over here. Okay, so which reaction will that be? It will be addition reaction. ये जो bromine है वो इस वाले molecule में add हो गया, right? You have more than one reactant and only single product. All these are signs of addition reaction. Next, substitution बोल रहे हैं. Why substitution? So if you see, यहाँ से एक हाइड्रोजन निकाल के एक क्लोरीन आ रहा है, right? See, here you had 3 hydrogen atoms. यहाँ पे सिर्फ 2 हाइड्रोजन एटम्स है, यानी एक हाइड्रोजन कम हो गया. यहाँ का जो 2 Cl एटम्स है, one of them is going over here and attaching here. So हाइड्रोजन को निकाल के एक क्लोरीन वहां पे ऐड हो रहा है. So it's a substitution reaction. Okay. Next, for the next one, what I can see is यहाँ से जो OH है, okay, OH, that is coming out. यहाँ से एक हाइड्रोजन भी निकल रहा है. See, यहाँ से एक हाइड्रोजन निकल रहा है, यहाँ पे CH2 है, उसका CH हो गया, यहाँ पे CH2 का CH हो गया, एंड यहाँ से OH निकल गया. So यहाँ से एक हाइड्रोजन, यहाँ से OH, तो H2O बन गया, H2 निकल गया, and here you get a double bond then to satisfy all the octet rules. So which reaction will that be? It will be dehydration reaction, क्योंकि water बाहर निकल रहा है, right? उस मॉलिक्यूल से पानी पानी का मॉलिक्यूल हम बाहर निकाल रहे हैं, सो इट इज dehydration यानी taking out water. Okay, next, neutralization. Why neutralization? This we had seen yesterday itself, right? This is a acid, right? This is ethanoic acid. This is sodium hydroxide, which is a base, ethanoic acid. So acid plus base gives you salt plus water. So this is a neutralization reaction. Very frequently you see neutralization reaction in chemistry. Okay, and last is esterification. Why? You see an ester is formed here, right? COO. So whenever COO is formed, you call it as esterification reaction. Okay, so if you see, right from oxidation combustion to esterification and dehydration, there are so many different types of reactions in this particular chapter. So only when you go through the textbook thoroughly and by heart each and every of those subtopics, you will be able to answer these types of questions. And these types of questions are expected in board exam. Okay, IUPAC nomenclature and these types of questions where you identify the type of reaction, or you draw the dot structure, line structure, draw isomers, etc. These types of questions are expected in this particular chapter. Okay, so you need to read the textbook very well, and you need to memorize all these small topics very well. Okay, so the next question is write answers as directed. The F1 says, what is meant by vinegar and gasohol? Okay, and what are the uses? So we have seen vinegar, we haven't seen gasohol, right? So the answer is okay. So 5 to 8% of aqueous. What does aqueous mean? Mixed with water. Okay. So 5 to 8% aqueous solution of ethanoic acid, which is also called as acetic acid, is known as vinegar, and it is used as a preservative in pickles. Preservative यानी it should remain usable for a long time. Okay, बहुत जल्दी खराब नहीं होना चाहिए, तो उसको preserve करके रखना है. And pickles is achar. Okay, that so in achar we use vinegar, which has 5 to 8% of aqueous solution of ethanoic acid or acetic acid. So that we already knew. Vinegar. What is gasohol? So sometimes ethanol is used as an additive. Additive यानी जो add किया जाता है to increase the efficiency of petrol. What is the meaning of efficiency? अगर समझो, if I put 1 liter of petrol, how long the car will go? Okay, so that is efficiency. अगर बहुत अच्छा पेट्रोल होगा, बहुत efficient पेट्रोल होगा, तो बहुत दूर जाएगा. और उतना अच्छा efficient कार नहीं होगा, उतना अच्छा efficient fuel नहीं होगा, तो सेम 1 लीटर पेट्रोल में बहुत ज्यादा दूर नहीं जाएगा, पास में आके उसका पेट्रोल यूज हो जाएगा. ओके, सो एफिशिएंसी इंप्रूव करना है और दूर तक चलना चाहिए, then sometimes ethanol is added as an additive. Okay, it is added to increase the efficiency of petrol. Such fuel is called gasohol, and it is used as a fuel in some countries. Okay, gasohol will be used as fuel in a few countries. This question was asked in board exam July 2019 for 3 marks. Okay, so generally for 3 marks, 6 points are expected. But here, because it was such an easy question for 3 marks, all you had to write was these 2 points, because there's no other point. Okay, if you want to add 2 more points, you could give what is ethanoic acid, you could tell what is ethanol acid. That's how you could add 2 more points. But more than 4 points, there's nothing you can write about, right? So all you had to do was write these 2 points or add 2 more points and write 4 points, and you would have gotten 3 marks. Okay, so make sure you're by hearting these small things. Okay, these small things are only going to improve your overall marks. Okay, I'm going to move ahead. Catalyst. So what is catalyst? Write any one reaction which is brought about by use of catalyst. Again, we have seen catalyst so many times, we have seen so many reactions which use catalyst. So what is catalyst? Catalyst is a substance. Give me a minute. Yeah, catalyst is a substance which increases the rate of a reaction without causing any disturbance to it. Okay, so वो केमिकल रिएक्शन में पार्ट नहीं लेने वाला है, बट क्योंकि कैटलिस्ट है, उसके प्रेजेंस की वजह से उसका स्पीड इंक्रीज होने वाला है. ओके, example, they have given the example of hydrogenation. What is hydrogenation? When hydrogen gets added to ethene, it becomes ethane in the presence of nickel or platinum. So nickel or platinum is catalyst. इन दोनों की वजह से speed of reaction increase होने वाला. Okay, so very simple question. You've used it so many times. Now, these 3 remaining questions in right answers as directed. Okay, B, C, and D. So what is question number B? Saturated hydrocarbons are classified into 3 types. Write these names giving one example each. Okay, तो सैचुरेटेड हाइड्रोकार्बन यानी सिर्फ सिंगल बॉन्ड्स होंगे उसमें, तो सिंगल बॉन्ड्स जो है, सिंगल बॉन्ड्स वाले हाइड्रोकार्बन, उनको उनको कैसे क्लासिफाई कर पाओगे? और वो जो सिंगल बॉन्ड्स का कार्बन का चेन फॉर्म हो रहा है, इज दैट स्ट्रेट चेन, is that a branched chain, or is that a cyclic chain? That you have to tell. Okay, so that those are three types, and you have to give one example. So you can find that in the textbook and write this answer. Next, they have asked us to give 4 functional groups containing oxygen as its heteroatom in it, and you have to give examples. And the last one is write functional group containing 3 different heteroatoms and write its structural formula and give one example each. Okay, name, structural formula, and example. So I think you all can solve all these 3 questions by yourself. They are not very difficult. All you have to do is open the textbook and find the tables. This is the first question. Question number B का आंसर तुम्हें किस टेबल में मिलेगा? Well, they've written straight chain hydrocarbons, branch chain hydrocarbons, and cyclic hydrocarbons. Okay, so in that table you will get the answer to the B one, and C and D you will get the answer in this one. Okay, this table. So here you have here you have heteroatom name. So ऑक्सीजन वाले 3 ऑक्सीजन हेटेरोएटम्स वाले 3 फंक्शनल ग्रुप्स बताने, तो इन तीनों में से कोई भी चूज कर सकते हो, एंड यू हैव टू राइट एग्जांपल्स. एंड 3 अलग अलग हेटेरोएटम वाले, तो एक में तुम क्लोरीन ले सकते हो, एक में ऑक्सीजन ले सकते हो, एक में नाइट्रोजन ले सकते हो. ओके, सो ऑल क्वेश्चंस, ऑल द आंसर्स और अदर आंसर टू सी एंड डी, सी क्वेश्चन एंड डी क्वेश्चन का आंसर तुम्हें इस टेबल में मिल जाना चाहिए. ओके, सो आई एम गिविंग all 3 questions as practice questions for you. Open the textbook, write examples, and put that in your notebook. Okay, and this will also tell you which tables are important to by heart. Okay, so just knowing what functional groups are is not enough. You should be able to give examples and their names, and the structure. Just knowing what is branch chain hydrocarbon, just knowing what is cyclic hydrocarbon is not enough. तुम्हें उनका example भी याद होना चाहिए, उसका structure भी याद होना चाहिए, नाम भी याद होना चाहिए. Okay, because those are the types of questions the board exam is asking. Okay, so that's it for this learning session, and that's it for this chapter. Just check whether you have accomplished today's learning objective or not. Will you be able to recall all the end of chapter questions and answers? You have to check for yourself. अभी के अभी by heart कर लो, अभी के अभी memorize कर लो. Okay, so that you don't have to memorize all the things together at the end when the new exam comes up. Okay, so start by hearting then and there after you complete one chapter. Okay, so that's it for this learning session, and that's it for this chapter. It's a huge chapter, I know, but it is also an important chapter, and it is also used heavily in grade 11 and grade 12 if you decide to take science. Okay, so that's it for this learning session. That's it for this chapter. I hope you had fun in whatever experiments we saw together, and I hope we see each other in the next chapter. Okay, till then, bye and peace.